everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison, and if you are new here, I am a mom to 5 little ones and we just moved. I will link down below the video talking about us moving. I have a couple videos so far talking about us moving. We downsized and we got some more land. And I got a lot of questions about what are my plans for our house and for the land. So today I just wanted to talk about my hopes and my dreams for our home and for our property. So we moved over the summer just a couple months ago, and one of the reasons that we moved is because we wanted some more land. We had a little less than an acre and a half where we used to live, and now we have a handful of acres. And on this, my hope and like my dream for this property is to have a little hobby farm. Our first big thing that we're going to be doing here is building my husband a shop. He will have a pole barn that he can work on his cars in, that he can work on a side business that we're hoping to get up and running again, and all of those kind of things. It's gonna be a pretty big building, and that's gonna take up quite a bit of our land. It's gonna be quite a big chunk of that. So probably the thing that we're gonna be doing first is going to be building the barn. In the spring also, I hope to get chickens. In the future, I want meat chickens and egg layers, but I think probably this spring we're gonna start with the egg laying chickens. I definitely hope to have a garden as well. I really don't know much about gardening at all. I grew up and my grandma was a gardener, and my grandpa on my dad's side was a gardener, and my mom is a gardener. And I, up until this point, really have had a black thumb. And I think that a lot of that had to do with lack of motivation and lack of intent behind my gardening. And I think that gardening requires a lot of effort and intent, and I had none of that. And so I was not ever going to be a successful gardener because I didn't even want to water it. Like, I didn't want to care for it at all. And the little that I do understand about gardening is that it requires maintenance, and I didn't do any of that. So I did make a list of all the things, and I'm starting, like, as I'm reading through cookbooks and I started getting books from the library about gardening, as I'm reading through them, I'm thinking and imagining about what kind of garden I want, like what kind of layout, and then also what kind of things that I want to grow. I don't even know for sure if the things that I want to grow can even be grown here. We have apple trees in our yard and pear trees in our yard. I would like to have more fruit trees in our yard. I would like to have apple trees. I want to get actually an elderberry bush. I want to have a spot where I have blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries. If I can do all those things, I don't know if all those things can happen. And then I would like to have a regular vegetable garden where I have root vegetables, you know, onions, potatoes, garlic, turnips, parsnips, all of those things, rutabaga. I would like to try to grow spinach and kale and healthy greens and things like that. I would also like to have an herb garden, and I hope to get a dehydrator next year so that I can start dehydrating my own herbs and be able to use herbs year-round that I have grown in my garden. Another thing that I want to grow is squash. So I want pumpkins, and I want to grow zucchini and summer squash. I'd like to try to grow acorn squash. I don't know if that grows here in Michigan. I don't know if I'll be successful. I'd love to grow corn. I know for sure I want to try canning next year as well, and I want to grow green beans. That was pretty much the only thing that I was successful with in the time that I had a garden. I had a raised bed garden, and the green beans were my most successful crop. Also my tomatoes, but I can't eat tomatoes. I can't have any nightshades, so I'm gonna be careful about growing things like bell peppers or tomatoes. I'm probably not even gonna grow any tomatoes because I can't eat them, and my husband doesn't like them, and my children don't like them, so I don't even know if I'm gonna grow them at all. I might, because I'm just thinking of making like sauces and stuff because my children still eat those and my husband still eats those, so I can make them for them. I'm not totally sure on that. I would also love a flower garden. I grew up and my mom had like a cutting garden, and when we would go places, my mom had bouquets of flowers to give to people, and I loved that. And my mom is such an incredible gardener, so I know I'll never live up to that, but I know that I could glean off of her wisdom, and I might be able to get some kind of a flower garden. I would love lilies. Lilies are my favorite flower. I'd like to grow sunflowers. As far as anything beyond that, I'm really not well versed. I love hydrangeas. I'd love to have a big hydrangea bush. I'm not sure on that part of the landscaping and the flowers and stuff, but I definitely do want flowers in my gardens. I would also like to have animals. We have right now an English Mastiff who will be 10 in April, which is very old for an English Mastiff. And we have 2 yellow labs they just turned a year old. And so that's a lot of animals as far as it is. And we also have a cat who's an indoor-outdoor, mostly outdoor cat. I would like to get some animals. And I know I have like a zoo already. I have 4 animals as it is, and getting chickens on top of that, but I would like to have something like maybe goats or I really want alpacas. As silly as that sounds, I have this dream to have alpacas, and I know that you need at least 2. They're kind of a pack animal, and I'm a weaver and I love textiles and I love yarn and I love knitting and crocheting, and to be able to have my own alpaca wool would be incredible. I know they don't need very much space. I think that might be one of my goals for this property. Those are all of my dreams and my hopes, and I think in this spring we're gonna start working towards setting up a garden. I don't know how much we'll get done the first year. I don't know how big it'll be. We are also looking at the chickens, which for sure we're doing this year. We go through so many eggs, and not having chickens at this point is so silly to me. Like, I have wanted chickens for a decade, and so I think we're definitely doing that this spring. And I don't know if at the same time I'm gonna do meat chickens. I'm not sure if I'm ready to take the leap to do butchering. I have a friend on Instagram, her name is Joy. I will link her. She has a Instagram that's super inspirational. She's super encouraging. She is a Christian, solid, lovely lady. I love her so much. And she also has a YouTube channel where she shares a little bit, but a lot more of her stuff is on Instagram, but I will link both of those below. Joy shared in her stories this big long butchering day that they did. I think they butchered over 100 hens, and that was amazing. It was just crazy for me to watch, but it really inspired me that if I want to take care of my own meat, that butchering aspect doesn't feel as impossible as it once did. And so that's on my mind. It's at the forefront of my mind, and I'm considering that as well. So I think those are probably all of the plans so far that we have for our property. A lot of it is going to revolve around my husband's shop. We have the space now for our children to play, and I think we'll probably put in another dirt bike track. At our old house, my husband used a tractor to make like dips for the dirt bike track, and so I hope and think that that will happen in the future here as well, where we'll manipulate our land to build jumps and things like that for the kids for the dirt bikes, which would be super fun. We also have a wooded area in the back that I would really love to build some kind of a fort or a tree house or of some sort for my kids too. I just think that would be such a cool thing for the kids to have. I would have loved having something like that as a kid. I think it would be awesome. So that's another one of my goals too. I think that's about everything that I would love to do with our land. As far as the house goes, the house is exactly what we wanted, and there's nothing really we want to change. Actually, as a matter of fact, we do want to put a roof on our deck, but other than that, that's it. We're totally content. We got exactly what we wanted as far as a house goes, and it's now a matter of setting up our little hobby farm. So I hope this was interesting to you guys. I know I always have a interest in what other people are going to do with their properties and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And if you have a hobby farm and you have any tips for me, or if you have any good like YouTube channels I should watch or books I should read, leave them down below. That'd be awesome. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you soon.